The story begins with a soft and innocent voice. That voice belongs to Nim, who starts telling us about her mother, Emily. Emily was an ocean researcher. The sea was not just her workplace, it was her true world. She often traveled deep into the ocean for her research missions. One day, while she was out in the middle of the sea on a special mission, something unexpected happened. A massive whale suddenly appeared near their boat. For a few moments, everything felt calm and peaceful. But then, in the distance, the loud sound of a large ship echoed across the water. The noise startled the whale. Panic spread in an instant, and in the chaos that followed, a terrible accident occurred. That tragic moment changed everything, because Emily was lost to the ocean forever. Time passes. A few years later, the story takes us to a mysterious and beautiful island, a place hidden far away from the rest of the world. This is where Nim arrives with her father, Jack. Jack decides that this island will now be their new home. The island is peaceful, quiet, and completely hidden from the outside world. Slowly, they begin building a new life there. Now Nim is 11 years old. Even though she lives far away from civilization, she never feels lonely because her friends aren't people. They are the animals of the jungle and the sea. She talks to them, plays with them, and treats them like family. In her small little world, Nim is truly happy. Nim also loves reading books, especially the adventure stories written by the famous explorer Alex. Whenever she reads those books, she imagines herself as part of those incredible adventures. Meanwhile, her father Jack is a biologist. He spends most of his time researching the unique life forms on the island. In fact, he has even discovered a new type of microorganism there, and he named it after his daughter, Nim. Jack regularly publishes research articles on the internet, but he never reveals the island's real location. He wants to keep this peaceful place hidden from the rest of the world. Once a month, he leaves the island to gather essential supplies, and then returns back home. For Nim, this island is her entire world. At the same time, the story introduces us to a woman living in the city, Alexandra. Alexandra is a professional writer. She spends most of her time sitting at her computer, constantly working on her stories. But her life is very different from the adventures she writes about. She is afraid of the outside world. Most of the time, she stays inside her house. Even small things scare her. For example, one day she sees a spider in her room and immediately panics. She is extremely concerned about cleanliness and safety. The truth is, Alexandra suffers from OCD. Because of this, she only feels safe inside her home. But here's the interesting part. Alexandra is actually the real writer behind the famous adventure books of Alex, the very books Nim loves so much. However, she doesn't use her real name in those stories. Instead of Alexandra, she writes under the name Alex. In her books, Alex is a fearless adventurer, someone who travels to dangerous places and faces thrilling challenges. But in real life, Alexandra is scared to even step outside her house. One day, while taking a shower, Alexandra suddenly gets a brilliant idea for her next book. She decides that this time, Alex should get trapped on a volcanic island. Excited by the idea, she starts researching different islands and volcanoes on the internet. And then, she notices a photo of a beautiful but unknown island, a picture that Jack had uploaded in one of his research articles. This is the exact moment when Alexandra first becomes curious about that mysterious island. Meanwhile, back on the island, Jack is preparing to go out to sea for another research mission. He asks Nim if she wants to come with him, but Nim refuses. Her pet turtle's eggs are about to hatch, and she doesn't want to leave them alone. Jack understands and decides to go alone. What he doesn't realize is that after he leaves, something new and unexpected is about to enter Nim's life. That night, Nim is sitting at her computer when suddenly she receives an email. The email was actually sent by Alexandra, but she used the name Alex. She is asking for ideas and suggestions for her next adventure story. The moment Nim sees Alex's name, she becomes extremely excited because she is a huge fan. She quickly writes back and tells Alex about herself, that she lives on an island and can help with ideas if needed. When Alexandra reads the email, she finds the name Nim very adorable, but she still believes she is talking to Jack. At that moment, she decides something interesting. For her new adventure story, she names the place Nim's Island. Little does she know that the island she is about to write about in her story actually exists in real life. As the story continues, we discover something interesting about Alexandra. Whenever she writes her stories, she often imagines Alex standing right in front of her, as if he's real, as if she's actually talking to him. But here's the strange and slightly funny truth. The Alex she imagines looks exactly like Jack. And the most surprising part is, Alexandra has no idea that the face in her imagination looks just like the real man who lives on that mysterious island. Meanwhile, night falls on the island. Nim is sitting beside her turtle's nest, waiting patiently, and then suddenly, something magical happens. The eggs begin to hatch. Tiny baby turtles start coming out one by one. Seeing this, Nim jumps with excitement. For her, this is a very special moment. Without wasting a second, she grabs the satellite phone and calls her father, Jack, to share the good news. Jack is overjoyed when he hears it. He tells her that he'll be back by the next day, but fate had something else planned. Shortly after the call ends, the weather over the ocean suddenly begins to change. Dark clouds cover the sky. Heavy rain starts pouring down. Within moments, a violent storm rises from the sea. Massive waves begin crashing everywhere, and Jack's boat gets caught right in the middle of it. Then suddenly, a gigantic wave slams into the boat. The storm also reaches the island. Nim's small house starts shaking from the powerful winds and heavy rain. Everything turns chaotic. Things start falling everywhere. Nim tries her best to manage everything, but she's alone and terrified. Somewhere between fear and exhaustion, she eventually falls asleep without even realizing it. The next morning, Nim wakes up and sees the mess all around her. She immediately thinks about her dad. She quickly grabs the satellite phone and calls Jack, but this time, there is no answer. During the storm, Jack's phone had fallen into the water, and he himself is lying unconscious inside the damaged boat. With no response, Nim becomes very worried. She keeps looking toward the ocean again and again. After some time, Jack slowly regains consciousness. He looks around and realizes the boat is badly damaged, and water is filling inside. He quickly starts pumping the water out using the machine on the boat, but now the motor isn't working properly anymore. Moving forward won't be easy, so he decides to catch some fish for food and steps into the water. Just then, something unexpected happens. A sea eagle appears and begins circling around him, almost like it's trying to help him. Jack looks carefully and suddenly recognizes it. It's the same eagle Nim lovingly calls Galileo. Seeing the bird, Jack immediately realizes something. His daughter must be worried about him. Meanwhile, back on the island, Nim continues staring at the ocean, waiting for her father, but there's still no sign of him. She feels sad. Now, the only ones with her are her animal friends. Just then, she receives another email on her computer from Alexandra. This time, Alexandra is asking about the island's volcano. She needs some information for her story. After reading the email, Nim decides to go see the volcano the very next day. She begins climbing a tall cliff using a rope. Slowly and carefully, after a lot of effort, she finally reaches the mouth of the volcano. When she looks inside, she sees dried and cold lava. It seems like the volcano has been inactive for a long time, but suddenly, the ground begins to shake slightly. Feeling this, Nim gets scared and quickly starts climbing down. In the rush, her foot slips. She falls down. Fortunately, it's not from a great height, so she doesn't get seriously hurt, just a small injury on her leg. After returning home, she emails all this information to Alex. When Alexandra reads it, she becomes very happy and thanks Nim for helping her. In reply, Nim writes that both she and her father love adventures. The moment Alexandra reads that line, she suddenly freezes, and then she realizes something shocking. She hasn't been talking to Jack all this time. She has been talking to his little daughter, Nim. At the same time, another big event is about to happen on the island. That same day, Nim is looking toward the ocean when she suddenly notices a ship approaching the island from far away. It slowly stops near the shore. After a while, a few people get into a small boat and start heading toward the island. Nim hides and secretly listens to their conversation. Then she hears their captain excitedly say something alarming. He says this island is an amazing place, and if they turn it into a vacation destination, they could bring a lot of tourists here. It would make them a lot of money. The moment Nim hears this, her expression changes completely. She feels angry and scared, because for her, this island isn't just a piece of land. It's her home, her entire world. She realizes that if these people keep coming back, her peaceful and beautiful world could be in danger. And now, the situation has become serious. Nim doesn't just have to protect her island anymore. She also has to protect her family, because there is still no sign of her father. After this, when Nim reads Alex's new email, she finally reveals her real situation for the first time. She writes that she has no idea where her father might be lost somewhere in the ocean, and now she is completely alone on the entire island. On top of that, some strangers are about to arrive there, people she doesn't trust at all. So she asks Alex for help. She tells him that if he is truly a hero, then he must come to the island. Meanwhile, when Alexandra reads this email, she becomes a little nervous. She replies honestly. She writes that she is very scared of going outside. In fact, she hasn't stepped out of her house for the last 16 weeks. Still, she says she can send someone else to help her, but Nim refuses immediately. She clearly tells her that she does not want the world to discover this island. If anyone is going to come, it has to be Alex himself. Hearing this leaves Alexandra completely confused. And just then, once again, Alex appears in her imagination. He tells her something important. If anyone can help in this situation, it's her. A hero doesn't step back because of fear, and this time he says he'll be with her, so she doesn't need to be afraid. After thinking about it for a long time, Alexandra finally gathers the courage. She decides to go to the island to help Nim. When Nim hears this news, she becomes very happy because she truly believes that a real hero is coming to help her. The next morning, Alexandra prepares herself and calls a taxi at her house, but the moment she tries to step outside the door, her legs begin to shake. The outside world feels terrifying to her. Still, imagining Alex beside her, she somehow manages to get into the taxi and reaches the airport. But another challenge is waiting for her there. During the security check, many of her sanitizers and personal items are taken away, and she is forced to continue the journey without them. Meanwhile, out in the ocean, Jack is still struggling with his broken boat. He has no idea how he will reach his daughter. Just then, Nim's friend, the sea eagle Galileo, flies from the island carrying some useful items and drops them near Jack, helping him repair his boat. Seeing this gives Jack hope. Maybe he can reach his daughter soon. At the same time, during the flight, the plane suddenly starts shaking violently. Alexandra gets extremely scared. Surrounded by so many people, she begins to feel like she can't breathe, so she quickly walks into the airplane restroom. There, she finds her medicines. Talking to Alex in her imagination, she takes some sleeping pills. Within a short time, she falls asleep. After the plane lands, an air hostess wakes her up. Now she has to catch her connecting flight quickly, so she runs through the airport and finally boards the second plane. This flight is much smaller than the first one. The next morning on the island, Nim is looking toward the ocean again. Suddenly, she sees a ship approaching from far away. She enters the water with her friend Selkie to take a closer look. At that moment, a boy on the ship named Edmund notices Nim and becomes shocked. He quickly tells his parents, but no one believes him. Meanwhile, Alexandra has now reached the town closest to the island, but as soon as she arrives, local people surround her and start trying to sell different things. Seeing the crowd makes her anxious again. Still, she gathers the courage to talk to an old taxi driver and continues her journey with him. Back on the island, the number of tourists keeps increasing. They start setting up tents and equipment, planning to turn the place into a weekend destination. Seeing all this makes Nim angrier and angrier, but she cannot openly do anything. Then suddenly, her binoculars accidentally fall down, and the sound is heard by Edmund. He becomes suspicious and starts looking toward the jungle. At that moment, Nim is hiding silently on top of a tree, but suddenly, Nim's dragon lizard friend falls straight onto Edmund from above. He screams loudly in fear and runs away. Seeing this gives Nim an idea. She gathers several lizards and prepares 3 or 4 slingshots. Then she starts launching the lizards one by one toward the people below. The lizards fly through the air and land on the tourists. Within seconds, chaos spreads everywhere. People start running in fear. However, the captain's crew somehow manages to calm everyone down and drive the lizards away. From the tree, Nim watches everything, but now she starts thinking about a much bigger plan. Quietly, she begins moving toward the volcano. At the same time, Edmund notices her and secretly starts following her. On the other side, Alexandra has now set off toward the island with a boatman, but after traveling some distance, the weather suddenly starts getting worse. The boatman becomes scared and refuses to go any further. Instead, he drops Alexandra on the shore of a nearby island. Alexandra tries to explain that this is not the place she wanted to go, but the boatman ignores her and sails away. Now Alexandra stands there alone, wondering what she should do next. Meanwhile, Nim reaches the volcano. She lights a fire and sends smoke rising into the sky. Then she starts pushing large rocks down the slope, trying to make it look like the volcano is about to erupt, hoping the people will get scared and leave. But suddenly, one of the rocks accidentally falls inside the volcano, and then something unexpected happens. The ground begins to shake. The volcano actually starts becoming active. Seeing this, Nim gets frightened. Luckily, before things get worse, she quickly climbs down. As soon as the people below see all this, they panic badly and start running away immediately. And just as Nim reaches the ground, she comes face to face with Edmund. Edmund tells Nim that they had only come to explore the island. They had no idea the place was so dangerous. Hearing this, Nim realizes something. She says that she thought they were bad people, but maybe she was wrong. Just then, Edmund's parents call out to him, and Nim quickly hides before they can see her. Soon after that, all the tourists start leaving the island in fear. Finally, Nim succeeds in protecting her island. Meanwhile, Alexandra is now trying to reach the island by renting a helicopter, but on the way, the weather suddenly turns bad again, and the helicopter gets caught in a storm. It becomes difficult to move forward. Still, the imaginary Alex keeps encouraging her, giving her the courage to continue. Then suddenly, while flying over the ocean, they notice the same ship below them, the one that had just left Nim's island. The pilot decides to land the helicopter near that ship. In the middle of the powerful storm, the ship's captain helps Alexandra and brings her inside so she can stay safe. At the same time, out in the ocean, we see Jack again. Somehow, he has managed to repair his boat a little and is slowly trying to move forward. Inside the ship, Alexandra tells the captain that she came here to help a little girl who is stuck alone on a nearby island. The captain looks surprised and says that there is no girl living on that island. But Edmund, who is standing nearby, overhears the conversation. He immediately tells Alexandra that he actually saw a girl there, and her name is Nim. The moment Alexandra hears this, she becomes sure that is the same girl she has been talking to all this time. Without wasting a second, Alexandra rushes outside. The captain's crew tries to stop her, but she quickly takes a small boat and heads toward the island. Meanwhile, Jack is still fighting the storm, trying to control his damaged boat. But then another massive wave crashes into it. This time, his boat breaks apart completely. Now he is almost helpless in the middle of the ocean, yet he refuses to give up. Back on the island, Nim is once again looking toward the sea. Suddenly, she sees a boat in the distance. She thinks maybe her father has returned. Without hesitation, she jumps into the water with her friend Selkie and swims toward the boat. But as she gets closer, she realizes something unexpected. It's not Jack, it's Alexandra, and she has fallen into the water and is starting to drown. Nim immediately rushes to save her, but during the rescue, Nim herself gets caught in the water. Still, showing incredible courage, she grabs Alexandra's hand, and somehow, both of them manage to reach the shore. The next morning when they wake up, they find themselves lying on the beach of the island. Nim asks her who she is. Alexandra replies that she is Alex. Hearing this shocks Nim. She cannot understand how that could be possible. Then Alexandra finally tells her the truth. She explains that Alex is actually the hero of her stories, a fictional character, and she herself is the writer behind those stories. Hearing this breaks Nim's heart. She realizes that the hero she believed in doesn't really exist. Upset and disappointed, she tells Alexandra to leave her island. Now Alexandra is left alone and feels deeply sad. Just then, she once again sees Alex in her imagination. He tells her that no matter what happens, she should help Nim. But Alexandra angrily says that she came all this way because of him, and now Nim doesn't even need her. Alex calmly explains something important. Nim really does need her, and he himself is just a part of Alexandra's mind. His purpose is now complete. After saying this, he disappears forever. Now Alexandra finally understands what she needs to do. She goes into the jungle searching for Nim and tries to talk to her. After a long conversation and sincere apologies, Nim finally forgives her. Nim then brings Alexandra to her home. They sit together, share a meal, and talk about Jack. Nim explains that her father has been missing for several days, and she is very worried about him. Alexandra comforts her and tells her that Jack will definitely come back. The next morning, when Alexandra wakes up, she goes looking for Nim and reaches the terrace. There, Nim is sitting quietly, staring at the ocean, waiting for her father. Alexandra sits beside her and tells her that she should never lose hope. Hearing this, Nim starts crying because she had begun to believe that maybe her father would never return. But just then, in the distance, a small boat appears in the ocean. When they look closely, they realize something incredible. It's Jack. He has somehow managed to fix his broken boat and is slowly reaching the shore. Seeing this, Nim jumps with joy. She immediately grabs Alexandra and runs toward the beach. Within moments, Jack reaches the shore safely. Father and daughter finally reunite. Overwhelmed with emotion, they hug each other tightly. Nim had been afraid that she might never see her father again, but now, all her fears are gone. After that, Jack meets Alexandra. Nim tells him that Alexandra is actually the writer behind all the famous Alex adventure books. Jack smiles when he hears this, but Alexandra is the one who looks surprised, because Jack looks exactly like the Alex she had always imagined in her mind. In the final scene, we see Nim, Jack, and Alexandra spending time together on the island. They are laughing, playing, and enjoying each other's company. For the first time, Alexandra feels like she is not alone anymore, as if she has finally found the true purpose of her life. And with this beautiful and heartwarming moment, the story comes to an end.